That's
Okay.
fine. There we go.
Stephen's going to start right over here. He's
Okay,
just
here
getting
we
his
go.
mic in.
Tony,
Hi, Stephen.
Ansel, congratulations. It's great to see you again here. Tony, it's like you're having with Scandal and now this movie, this sort of career resurgence. Do you feel that way? And did you read the book, both of you, and talk about your characters compared in the movie compared to the book?
Yes, and yeah, it's been a great year, a few years, doing all kinds of new momentum in all different ways for me, work-wise, which has been really exciting. And what was the second part, Stephen? Talk about the characters. I had read the book, and the characters, similar to the book. I'd say that Neil Berger, in developing the book into a screenplay, really fleshed out some of the secondary characters even more than what's in the book. So, for example, Andrew, my character, I guess he took a strong point of view on Andrew, where I think you have a lot of compassion and connection to our family, which is really useful in telling the story. I think that at least when I saw the movie, I felt very connected to Triss's family, Caleb, and aside from just feeling connected to Ansel. So yeah, it's quite similar, but Neil's really created a world that is really three-dimensional and wonderful.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, I read it after I got cast in the story. I think we all read it. Because anytime as an actor you have that kind of source material, it's like really helpful, in terms of fleshing out your character. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Tony. The world is really three-dimensional. It's impressive because to have this kind of movie, it's the first in a series, so you have to introduce the whole world. You have to introduce all the factions, you have to introduce all the characters, and then you have to tell a story on top of that. So the way that they achieve that is much better than I expected them to have, because they did a perfect job.
Is it the same arc then in the first book for you that we see Caleb
Yeah.
in the movie where he goes
To Erudite.
says, I'm sorry?
Yeah, faction before blood. Yeah, and then he comes back and he's I didn't realize that this was gonna happen, and he starts having regret, and then what happens.
It's very faithful.
Later.
The movie's very faithful.
Yeah.
To the book. Yeah.
They did a perfect job because they cut out things that you don't need, and that way, because if you have too many things going on, then you can't really tell the story and you can't flesh out the right characters. But they cut out some characters, and then maybe they'll flesh them out later. I'm sure some of you guys know who the character is that they cut out, but maybe they'll flesh them out later. And yeah.
Hi, can you tell us who was the best or most natural fighter on set, and who was like the clumsiest or had the toughest time?
See,
Like,
we're
out of
we're
everyone.
abnigation.
Because we're in abnegation,
Yeah.
so there was no fighting. Or
No
very
fighting.
little.
No fighting in our abnegation.
Just like any of the
Little at the
other,
end, but
Yeah.
any
we
of the
didn't know
other
what we were doing.
actors?
I'm guessing. I mean, by the looks of him, I'd say Jai. I wouldn't want to mess with Jai just because naturally he seems like and him and Theo, I don't want to mess with. Yeah.
You're coming into an established story, an established franchise, and you are super involved on social media. And so what has that reception been like from fans? What have you been hearing and receiving?
It's been amazing. I mean, it's like a few months ago I was just I don't know. It's crazy. It's so nice, It's but that's because of the stories, It's like I was saying, every time I go to one of these screenings, there are people screaming and stuff, and they say, "How does it feel for everyone to be screaming for you?" And I say, well, if I was just here as a fan, people wouldn't be turned toward me and screaming. It's not because of me, it's because of the story. People are obsessed with this story. People are obsessed with the other story that I'm a part of. And, I just am lucky enough to be part of them.
Tony, you and Ashley have some tough scenes together watching Caleb and Triss leave, move factions. When you guys were shooting that scene, were you drawing from experiences of like, what would this be like? My own kids leaving me. Like, what was going through your head when you were filming this?
Yeah, it was one of the reasons I really connected to this material. I think Veronica's book really resonates both with young adult readers, but adults as well, because I have young daughters. Well, actually, Triss's age, and so the idea of being separated from my kids for life, it's your worst nightmare. So, yes, for sure, that was an easy one to think about.